It's the most wonderful time of the year. The World Series is upon us, and it's the Philadelphia Phillies against the Houston Astros. The Phillies were the last team into the National League field, and they upset their way to the top. The Astros were the juggernaut of the American League that everyone expected to be there. The Phillies are 9-2 in the playoffs, and the Astros are 7-0. Tomorrow, they start their best-of-7 series for all the marbles. That's enough baseball talk. If you want to see more of that, check out my baseball channel, Home Run Productions. I post videos every week there, link is down below. Each of these cities have a major park somewhat nearby, and they're pretty evenly matched. So let's do my very first World Series park battle. This is the Phillies, represented by Hersheypark, versus the Astros, represented by Six Flags Fiesta Texas. As usual, we will focus on coaster battles, but we will also give points for other aspects in the park. Each park gets a point for winning a coaster battle, unless the disparity is so great that it deserves 2 points. Each park will get 1 or 2 bonus points for coasters that don't have a match at the other park. Let's start with their big new B&Ms. Candemonium at Hersheypark against Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger at Fiesta Texas. Both of these have height in their side. Candemonium gets the edge for being 210 feet versus 150. They're both the newest coaster in the park and they're glossy smooth. Cliffhanger has a 95-degree drop, Candemonium only 77.3. Cliffhanger also works in 2 inversions over 2,500 feet of track, and although Candemonium doesn't go upside down, it has almost twice as much track and it's full of airtime. It has those amazing clamshell lap bars, while Cliffhanger has those annoying vest restraints that pinch my legs when they get too tight. Candemonium may not be my favorite hyper, but it still has the edge over this new B&M dive. 1 point for Hersheypark and the Phillies. Next is the uncomfortable ejector machines. Skyrush at Hersheypark versus Wonder Woman Golden Lasso Coaster at Fiesta Texas. Both of these are absolutely insane. Coasters that were built for enthusiasts to love. Skyrush has exactly double the drop and exactly double the length, and it's full of drawn-out turns and ejector airtime moments. Wonder Woman works in 3 inversions, but it still has some intense airtime moments. Skyrush has very uncomfortable and restrictive lap bars. Wonder Woman has very annoying shoulder harnesses that can dig into your skin, so on both rides, all that ejector airtime can be painful. Still, I prefer Wonder Woman for being less of a pain and being a more complete ride, even though it's half the size of Skyrush. 1 point for Fiesta Texas and the Astros. Game's tied at 1. Now for the inverts. Great Bear at Hersheypark versus Goliath at Fiesta Texas. Great Bear was really crammed into its spot in the hollow, and it's a pretty short ride, but not quite as short as Goliath. This was twice relocated, and it was scooped out of the floodwaters of New Orleans, and this would end up in the parking lot at Fiesta Texas. This is a great looking Batman clone, 44 feet shorter than Great Bear, but much more intense. But in my opinion, Great Bear gets the edge. I really like this layout, from that helix before the first drop, to its setting and that final corkscrew over the creek. I think it's an underrated invert, and it gives the Phillies a 2-1 lead. Next up, the launch coasters. Stormrunner at Hersheypark versus Poltergeist at Fiesta Texas. They're both about the same length. Poltergeist gets it by about 100 feet. Plus it has an extra inversion, but Stormrunner has it on just about everything else. It's got 15 extra miles per hour. It's one of the most powerful launches in America, getting up to 75 miles per hour in 2 seconds. It's over 100 feet taller than Poltergeist, and it has that top hat and an awesome set of inversions. I don't love the over-the-shoulder restraints, but I don't think the Poltergeist lap bars are all that great either. Point to Hersheypark and the Phillies, now 3-1. Now, the inversion machines. Fahrenheit at Hersheypark versus Superman Krypton Coaster at Fiesta Texas. This one is very close. It's the battle of Intamin versus B&M, and there are pros and cons to each one. Fahrenheit has that awesome 97-degree drop at 125 feet. Superman doesn't have that, but it is almost 50 feet taller and twists off the quarry wall. Superman is also 1,400 feet longer and has an extra inversion, 7 versus 6, and it's defined by that interaction by the quarry wall. Fahrenheit is much more intense and whippy, mixing in some ejector airtime, and you can kind of feel it with those not so great shoulder restraints. Both are top 100, but Superman is about 25 spots higher on my list, so point to Fiesta Texas and the Astros. Scores 3-2. Now for the spinners. Laugh Track at Hersheypark versus Pandemonium at Fiesta Texas. We have Maurer versus Gerstlauer. They're classic models being put to the test here, and Laugh Track has the added bonus of the cool indoor setting and neon funhouse theming. Pandemonium has a nice backdrop with a quarry wall, but it doesn't interact with it. I think the Gerstlauer model is better overall, but Laugh Track gets the point for that awesome theming. Point for Hersheypark and the Phillies, 4-2. Now we got the boomerangs. Jolly Rancher Remix at Hersheypark versus Boomerang at Fiesta Texas. These may have identical layouts, but they've taken different paths over their existence. Hersheypark's Boomerang got new trains when it was still called Sidewinder, and these Vestas trains make the ride so much more comfortable. It sounds like Fiesta's Boomerang may do the same thing, but over this past offseason, Sidewinder was repainted and rethemed as Jolly Rancher Remix, and they added a tunnel. It's not a lot, but it's enough to give Hersheypark the edge. 5-2 Phillies. Next up, the Mine Trains. Trailblazer at Hersheypark versus Roadrunner Express at Fiesta Texas. This isn't really a fair fight. Trailblazer dates back to 1974, and Roadrunner was Arrow's final mine train opening in 1997. This one is so much faster and more intense. Plus, it goes on top and down the side of the quarry wall. There aren't many better mine trains out there than Roadrunner Express, so it's the clear winner here. Astros get a point and pull the score to 5-3. Finally, the kiddie coasters. Coco Cruiser at Hersheypark versus Streamliner Coaster at Fiesta Texas. One's a Vekoma Jr. oval coaster, the other's a Zamperla Gravity Coaster which has a helix. Pretty much the same ride. It's a wash, and neither park gets a point. That's 9 coaster battles, and that leaves 4 extra coasters at Hersheypark, including both operating wooden coasters, Comet and Lightning Racer. These get 1 point each, so does Wild Mouse and Super Duper Looper. Fiesta Texas only has 2 left over, one being Batman the Ride, which is worth 1 point, and the other being Iron Rattler. Hersheypark is going to get the RMC conversion of Wildcat soon, but until they do, Iron Rattler is unmatched and gets 2 points. The score is now Hersheypark and the Phillies 9, Fiesta Texas and the Astros 6. Now, onto the flat rides. I'm really only looking at the notable ones. So at Hersheypark, you have the Triple Tower, Mixed Flavor by Jolly Rancher, Reese's Cup Fusion, and the Claw. At Fiesta, you have an answer to all of this, including the Combo Tower, Scream, Daredevil Dive, Pirates of the Deep Sea, and instead of the Claw, you have the amazing Zamperla Giga Discovery, Joker. Throw in the Sky Screamer, and Fiesta Texas gets the point for the Astros, now 9-7. Next up, transportation rides. Hersheypark has a lot, but they don't really take you anywhere. The Railroad, the Monorail, the Skyway, they're round trips, not really transportation rides. Fiesta Texas just has the train, but it has a stop over by Iron Rattler and by Sangerfest on the other side of the park. This train also has a great route around the whole park, and it even goes into the quarry wall under a waterfall. It's not a lot, but it's effective, and it gets Fiesta and the Astros closer at 9-8. Next, we have Photo Ops, and Hersheypark has a nice variety. They have a giant Ferris wheel. They have the Skyview, not a good transportation ride, but definitely a good place to get pictures. You also, of course, have the Kissing Tower. It's been closed both times I went to the park, but this is where you want to be for your footage. Fiesta Texas only has one place, the Ferris wheel called Crow's Nest. It's a good spot, but it doesn't match up with all of Hershey's options. Philly goes ahead 10-8. Now let's look at the water parks. They both have one inside the main park, and you can walk in there whenever you want. It's not a separate paid gate. Both parks get a point, and Philly maintains their 2-point lead. Next, we have Park Appearance, and both of these parks have a very nice atmosphere. Hershey has Chocolate Town, and the Founder Circle, and the Hollow, and it looks good. The rides in general don't have much theming, aside from Cup Fusion and Laugh Track. I'd say it's fine, nothing special. Fiesta Texas, on the other hand, does stand out, despite being a Six Flags park. Between the setting within the quarry walls, the themed areas, the recent push to theme the rides and the queue, you see this with the Joker, Poltergeist, and now Dr. Diabolical with an extensive pre-show. Fiesta Texas is without a doubt the best themed and best looking Six Flags park, and it deserves the edge over Hersheypark. Astros pull to within 1 point, 11-10, but unfortunately for them, that was the last category. This park battle and the World Series belong to Hersheypark and the Philadelphia Phillies. Despite this park battle, I have Fiesta Texas ranked ahead of Hersheypark on my overall rankings, albeit not by much. I knew this would be a close battle, and it definitely turned out to be. As for the series itself, I don't know if the Phillies will be as lucky. They are fun, they're exciting, but Houston is one of the better teams that we've seen in recent years. They won 106 games, their pitching is lethal, their offense is top tier. If I had to guess, I would say they win the series in 6 games. I can see them sweeping the first 2 games at home, losing 2 out of 3 in Philly, and then taking the series back at home. I can also see the Phillies coming out on fire, overpowering that pitching staff. They seem to have the magic going, getting that big hit whenever they need it. I just think that scenario is a whole lot less likely. Regardless, Philly, I'm pulling for you. And maybe this park battle can give you some mojo you'll most definitely need. Let me know what you think about this park battle, and if you're a baseball fan, the World Series. Do you prefer Hersheypark or Fiesta Texas? And what pushes one over the other? Sound off in the comments below. Before you go, don't forget to drop a like. And if you're new here and love coasters, please give me a sub. Also, check out my links below for my Discord server, and my second channel where I post copyright-free off-ride footage, and my baseball channel because, well, obvious reasons. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.